Hey, James.
How did you get upside down?
Where's Lydia? How'd you end up over there? Claire, how'd you sleep?
Wait.
We pulled into our campsite last night after dark because we wanted to spend more time at the St. George, Florida beach, which we showed in our last episode. So now we're really seeing our campsite for the first time here the next morning. I'll include a link in the description below to the site, which is a boat ramp area that allows free camping and even has a bathroom with showers and flushing toilets. We didn't spend much time here because we had a lot of distance we wanted to cover today, but we wanted to explore the site before we left.
It is now the next morning. We're heading over to the bathrooms. This is what our site looked like last night. This is a really cool place. It's really nice. I'm surprised that it's free because it has the bathroom primarily. How did you girls all sleep last night?
Good.
Great. We were all really tired. There's a little bit of a parking lot here, even some handicap spots here in concrete. And so there's like significant amount of infrastructure here for being a free place to camp. It feels like there's a catch still. This is a really great place to stop off, and you can be here for up to 14 nights. And there's people camped all the way along this side of the area. According to this operating permit here, it says there are 5 tent spaces and 10 RV spaces, so total spaces of 15. I assume they're not strict about that, and they probably let more people be here, but I don't know. We are now headed over here to this beach, is what we've heard, so we're gonna see what's here. And here's the hiking trail. James is not on board, and neither is Lydia. Did you get a spider web in your face? Yeah, I hate it when that happens. So they've got some picnic tables under a pavilion over here, and another over here. It's a really pleasant place. If we had more time, this would be a great place to hang out. Looks like some other kids were here digging. Does anybody want to swim in this? This was a great place to be able to camp. It's too bad we can't spend more time here. Even had a fire pit here, which had some coals going when we arrived. We had yet another software update show up yesterday, and apparently it downloaded somehow during the day, probably at free Wi-Fi at a supercharger. I just didn't notice. Going into the release notes, it has more information here about that this is full self-driving supervised, and it's a newer version than what we have. So interesting. I'm not going to install it right now because we're about to drive. And if there were to be something that goes amiss with the software update, I don't want to be stranded in a campsite. So we'll do that probably tonight when we get to our destination in the city in Texarkana, Texas. So the agenda for today, though, at least the first part of today, is to come along here. We'll have an hour and 12 minutes of driving to do, and we'll get here to this Robertsdale, Alabama supercharger at 20% estimated right now, and we're at 69%. If you recall, I think we were at 71 last night, so we lost 2% overnight. Right now on our trip, we are at 4,878 miles on the trip. Let's get started. How was the night, girls?
Good. Good.
Yeah? Are you excited for the day of driving?
Yeah.
Okay. We have estimated to get to our next supercharger, which is not quite accurate, but we'll be getting there around 7:30 p.m. We'll see what that actually turns out to be. So let's get on the road. We are charging at our first supercharger in the parking lot of a Buc-ee's. So that's gonna be fun. We can go in and see a Buc-ee's again. It's been a few years since we've seen one. We're in Robertsdale, Alabama, and we got peaked at 240 kilowatts, and now it's already going down, and we got here at about 30%. And so it's estimated that we need to be here for 20 minutes to continue on our way. And on our way, the next supercharger is here in Hattisburg, Mississippi. This is awesome. This Buc-ee's is providing window washers for Tesla people, which is not terribly common. Okay, thank you, Lucy.
You're welcome.
I've been looking forward to charging at a Buc-ee's this whole trip because Buc-ee's is an awesome place. If you've never been, you should check it out. I'm going to show you the inside here briefly. Are you excited, Lucy? Do you know what's in here? All right, prepare to be amazed. This is the biggest gas station ever. do you think, Lucy?
Looks like a normal store.
It's huge though, right? For a gas station especially. It's like a convenience store mall. And it has tons of food and gifts and trinkets, snacks, lots and lots of snacks. Everything is just really big here. Got the candies. Some fudge. Look at all the candy, Lucy. Fudge. Breakfast sandwiches. It's pretty big, huh?
Ginormous.
Ginormous. A lot of people here too, huh? This place is a zoo. If you're looking for a job, looks like they're hiring here, Buc-ee's.
No experience necessary.
No experience. Unfortunately, we were not able to spend much time here because the car is already ready to go. So let's get back to it and get back on the road. All right, let's see what the state of charge of the car is. We are up to 79%, saying it's ready to go. And we're gonna be getting to the Hattisburg supercharger at 23%. So we overshot that by a lot. We need to get going. Girls, do you see the van in front of us?
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna go see the eclipse too?
Yeah, and it says Florida to Texas.
You're right.
Like we are.
Yep. Maybe we'll see them, but probably not. We are approaching Mobile, Alabama. Girls, it's that battleship we toured last time we came down. Do you remember that? Well, too bad we don't have time to do it again today. I'll put a card above to that video when we toured that battleship 4.5 years ago. We're here just a little bit past Mobile, Alabama, out in the middle of nowhere, Alabama. And our trip meter just switched over to 5,000 miles. So we're now 5,007 miles on this whole trip. And our odometer is now at 7,300 miles. So that's approaching the 7,500 mile mark. So I thought I'd just share that we've now gone 5,000 miles. Girls, what do you think about going 5,000 miles?
Crazy.
Well, at this point, we still have probably another 2,000 miles left to go. We are now plugged into the Hattisburg, Mississippi supercharger, and it's estimated that we need to be here for an additional 25 minutes. The next drive is estimated will be a 2 hour and 40-minute drive and going 133 miles. We've been really lucky with superchargers on this trip, mostly being V3, and there have been V2s, but we've been skipping them. But there aren't as many superchargers in this part of the United States, so this is a V2, 150 kilowatt max, and you can see there's just far fewer options out here. The car is now letting us know that it's time to go, and we're going to be arriving at the next supercharger at 27%, so we've way overcharged here. So we're going to get on the road and keep going. We are arriving at the next supercharger, and I did not expect this view coming over the crest.
Whoa.
You got a steamship here and a bridge, a gnarly metal wall. In any case, we're going to get plugged in here shortly. We are now plugged in here to the supercharger at Vicksburg, Mississippi. We got here at 10% on the battery, which was a huge reduction over what it had estimated when we left the previous supercharger. So I don't know what happened. If you look at the weather, you can see it's cloudy and it's windier, but it should be calculating that, I believe, somewhat. So anyway, yeah, we're getting up to 250, and it's estimating that we need to be here for 11 minutes. Now, something that I noticed here is that this is the Magic Dock type of supercharger. And this is my first time ever seeing one of these. After all of these years and many supercharger stops, this is the first one that I've ever stopped at that had the Magic Dock, so that's pretty cool. Do you want to go in here to this paddle boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go check it out. It doesn't function as a boat anymore, but it technically used to be a boat. Look at this grand entry hall. Smells like cigarette smoke. We're going to use the restroom and then get back out of here. The car is now ready to go. It's estimated that we'll arrive at the next supercharger at 15%, and we're at 70% on the battery. We're going to be driving for another hour and a half. We're going to unplug and go. As an aside, this supercharger, the only restroom available is in the casino. We were able to go into the parking garage entrance, and back on the back side there's a restroom. Kids aren't allowed in the main entrance. Well, at least they had signs. I didn't even try because there was a bouncer there. So not a great supercharger location for restroom access, at least for kids. There's the casino over there that we just were at, and this bridge next to us I think is for the railroad. And also we're entering Louisiana. What do you think, girls?
Louisiana.
What do you think of the bridge?
Cool.
Cool. We are now at the Ruston, Louisiana supercharger, and we peaked at 253 kilowatts. And it's estimated that we need to be here for 20 minutes before we'll continue on our way and get to our destination. So we're excited. This is the last segment, and at this point it's estimating that we'll get to our destination at about 6:30 p.m. We are seeing a Rivian here charging for the first time. I personally have never seen a Rivian charging at a supercharger in person. The Rivian just unplugged and they're taking off, and we're heading in to use the restroom somewhere. Well, this is interesting. This is my first time seeing a Mustang Mach-E charging at a supercharger. I just came over here and noticed that their Mustang Mach-E is within 1/8 of an inch from the supercharger. That is very, very close. They didn't quite need to get that close, but they clearly do need to get pretty close because that cable is pretty far out. This supercharger stop was a little bit on the unusual side. The first stall we plugged into, which these people are over here now using, the speed dropped down to 37 kilowatts pretty quickly, so I moved over a spot, which we've had to do a few other times, and then this one's been faster, but still not fantastic. We're now up to 88%, which is far more than we normally charge, and we're down to 43 kilowatt charge rate. Down here it's estimating that we'll get to our destination with 12% remaining, so we're going to unplug and go, but I'm a little confused about this because we can easily go 200 miles. 210 miles is probably about maximum with the roof box and with the speeds that we're going. And this is only 144 miles, so a little bit, well, quite a bit less. Oh, look at this. We now have an Ioniq 5 coming here. I haven't heard that Hyundais can charge at superchargers, so I'm going to watch to see what happens to them. Anyway, it's estimated we'll get to our destination now at 6:48. Earlier today it was estimated 6:30, so now we are about 18 minutes behind what it thought at that time, and we're going to be driving for 2 hours. And then also, I was wondering if it was maybe the wind, because I think wind is now factored into Tesla navigation, but it hasn't always. And so I looked up on the Windy app, and look at that. You can see it looks like a hurricane. It's just a circular, huge circular pattern across many states. We are down here, and you can see the path that we are traveling down here from Jackson, Mississippi, up in here to Texarkana, northeastern part of Texas right there. That's actually going to be a side wind. It's not going to be a headwind. And so that shouldn't be a concern for us, or at least not very much of a concern regarding, navigation and charging. So I don't know why Tesla thinks we're going to need that much energy to be able, like we're at now 89% to go only 144 miles. So we'll find out what it is, what it ends up taking to get there. So let's see what these people do, and then we'll take off. The last couple of weeks we've been on this trip, and so I'm pretty out of date with keeping up with the industry of electric cars and whatnot, because I've been just too busy on this trip.
James, Gushers.
He's got the CCS adapter there attached to this Magic dock, and he just plugged it in. So it looks like it's maybe going to work for them, I assume, if he was able to get it detached with his app. And, I have to wonder, like, this area must have a ton of third-party EVs, because I've now seen a Rivian and a Ford and now a Hyundai all charging here. So that's very interesting, considering they're all my first for seeing any third-party charge at a supercharger. Looks like it's working for Hyundais now, and I'm going to go ahead and unplug here at 90%, and we're going to get on the way, and it's estimating 15% arrival. We've now arrived at the house that we're staying in, and we got here at 9%. So it definitely consumed more energy than it anticipated, but there was a bit of a wind. If we look over here at the energy consumption, it was quite high. I'm going to now get us plugged in, and I'll show you the setup. I'm here in the garage setting up the mobile connector, and this behind the dryer is their NEMA 1430 receptacle, and this is the pin configuration right there. And it kept throwing a red error light on the mobile connector, and so I took it apart with the homeowner's permission and found that the ground wire is completely disconnected from the lug. So I'm going to rectify that now, and then we'll see if it works. I'm now plugged in at the Texarkana supercharger. Actually, it's in Nash, Texas. It's the newer one in the Texarkana area. This is a V3 supercharger. Explaining what happened back there, this is a relative's house that we visited twice previously, and I can put a card above to those videos when we visited. One was in December of 2019 in our Model S, way back when we first got it, or near when we first got it. And then the last time was 2 years ago. Well, since then, they have purchased a new washer and dryer. We were using their dryer outlet in their garage. And when they bought the new dryer, the technicians who installed it replaced the receptacle, and they changed it from a NEMA 1030 receptacle, which uses 3 wires, and they changed it to a NEMA 1430 receptacle, which uses 4 wires. Shouldn't be a big deal. I should have adapters for both of those. However, I plugged it in, and as I showed earlier, there was a red light on the mobile connector. And just to make sure, I actually plugged the mobile connector into a standard household socket to make sure it wasn't the problem, and it showed up green, so it was fine. So just in talking to the homeowner, we were curious, and I've never gone this far before. I've charged from a lot of homeowners, friends and families, receptacles in their houses, and charged up our cars overnight many times. Usually it just works, and if it doesn't, then I'll go to supercharger, right? I don't know that it ever hasn't worked, though, now that I think about it. And in this case, though, we were curious why it wouldn't work, and we had time, so we continued troubleshooting. So I took the receptacle out of the wall, and that's what I showed you earlier, where the ground wire was loose. And so I thought, oh, that's probably the problem. So I undid the screw, wrapped the ground wire around that screw and tightened it back on. And then I checked all of the other 3 lugs for the 2 hots and the common, and they were actually pretty loose, and they turned another half turn of the screw tighter. So I don't want to have micro arcing while I'm charging and cause a fire, of course, so that's good to make sure those are all tight. So after doing that, though, I put it back together and plugged in the mobile connector, and it still had a red light. So the next thing we did to troubleshoot was we took off the cover of their main service panel where all of the breakers are in a closet in their kitchen, and looked at the receptacle, and looked at the circuit breaker for their dryer outlet, and the wires that were coming out of the wall to that breaker were a different color of insulation on the wires. It was like a gray one and a brown one, and there was just the 2, and then there's the bare ground wire, but no common. They've remodeled this home about 12 years ago, and so what it appears to me is that the dryer previously only used 3 wires, which was common for older houses, and then when they did this remodel, they ran a new wire to this new receptacle, which is 20 or 30 feet away, and in that case they used a 4-wire Romex, and I don't know what it looks like, but the junction in the wall, it would seem, I think, left the common wire just floating. That's in question. I don't know. I gave up. I thought, well, I don't want to mess around with your wiring anymore, and I have other things to do. So we put everything back together, and their dryer still works, so that's good. That's the most important thing, of course. But now we know in the future when we visit, we won't be able to charge from their house because something technically has changed with their dryer receptacle in their garage, so we can't use it anymore, unfortunately. Fortunately, they have a new V3 supercharger here in town that got installed fairly recently, and it only took 2% of the battery to get here, so it's not that far away. I think it was like an 8-minute drive, so I'm filling up here. But that's why it's important to charge extra when you're especially going to someone's house. If you're anticipating charging there, even if you have checked ahead of time, made sure that they have a receptacle within range of where you can park your car, etc. If there's some technical constraint that they're not aware of and you're not aware of, and you still need to charge, make sure you have enough charge to get from their house to some other form of faster charging, probably. If we didn't have enough charge, like for some reason we were going to get here at the supercharger less than 0, not be able to make it, then I would have just plugged into a standard household socket there at their house and just left it like that overnight probably, and then come to the supercharger and had enough range to get to the supercharger the next morning and then charged it up. It's always better to charge sooner in the evening, though, because we just finished a day of driving. The battery is relatively warm, so it charges quickly. If I wait till the next morning, it's probably going to be cold, and then they do have battery preconditioning now, but if the supercharger is close by, it won't warm it up quickly enough because it takes a little while to do that depending on the temperature swing. Anyway, probably more detail than you really needed, but I just wanted to explain that situation because it's the first time that I've run into going to someone's house to charge and have it not work, especially at a place that's proven in the past to work and then now doesn't because somebody changed something and we don't know what. I think I'm going to charge here until the battery is at about 82%. The reason being, when I drive back to their house, it'll be down to 80%, and then I'll plug it into a standard household socket and just top it up the rest of the way overnight. Tomorrow we're going to go see the eclipse, which we're excited about. Hopefully it's not cloudy, and I want to have maximum range in case unforeseen circumstances occur, because we might drive to a different place depending on the weather, or maybe traffic will be horrendous, which we get better range if there's bad traffic, but I don't know. I just want to make sure all my bases are covered, so I'm going to charge it to 100% just to make sure. I've now been here charging for 39 minutes, And we're up to 85% on the battery. So that's good enough. We're at 39 kilowatts, and I'm going to be plugging into the house, like I said, overnight. So I'm going to unplug from the supercharger and head back to the house now. And we are at 5,472 miles on our road trip so far, and we've used 1,996 kilowatt hours throughout this whole trip. And so right now concludes today's part of the video, and tomorrow we're going to go see the eclipse, or at least hope to see it, but we'll see what happens with the cloud cover and the weather. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. I've just gotten back to the house, and I'm going to go ahead and install this software update now. Like I said, I don't normally recommend doing this on trips, but this is such a long trip and a lot of driving, and I want to see the differences in full self-driving supervised now versus what it was before full self-driving beta. And so this is version 12.3.3 that I'm installing now. The version that I've been using is version 12.3.2.1. So that'll be interesting to see tomorrow what the difference is. But I'm going to go ahead and tell it to install the software update right now. And then actually, while that's counting down, I'm going to come over here and plug in the mobile connector. I had this plugged in earlier, and this is just plugged into a standard household socket. And so I'm going to check, make sure it turns green. Yep. And then also I need to make sure that the amps is correct, which it should be automatic because it's using the official adapter. So yeah, it's at 12 amps. So I'm going to let this charge overnight. You can see I have it set to 100%, and we're at 84%, and it is estimating that it's going to take 10 hours at 1 kilowatt to get up to 100%. So we'll see where it is when we leave to go see the eclipse tomorrow.
You need to wear your glasses to see them.
You're right. You're exactly correct. Isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
Keep looking. It's going to only last 2 minutes.